couple years ago, I started getting into .NET technologies away from C, C++, because one of the things that I thought was pretty neat was that Microsoft created a series of frameworks that allow you to deploy applications fairly quickly that have a good GUI and that you can make useful in a relatively short period of time for desktop. And in this case, I'm discussing the MVVM architecture. It's a variation of MVC. It's based on the presenter view model we use in my It has three components: the model, which is the data; the view, which is the markup in the front end; and the view model, which acts as both a controller class and a logical representation of the view. The identifying factor between this and what we know MVC is the model. I consider it useful because it tries to encapsulate each of the specific functionalities in a way that they're well separated. And binding the view model properties directly to the interface allows the front-end developer to work completely separate from the back-end developer, so you don't have any miscommunication. And this is a diagram of how everything sort of works. It's basically just the view connects to the view model with bindings, the view translates the first commands to the view model to act on the data, expression blend interactivity allows you to make little graphics, and C# events run back to the view so that you can detect changes in the data and display them, update the interface accordingly. And then we run through that. So you can do data binding with WIN forms. It's a little convoluted, so usually people use the XAML markup for rendering the front end. This is done at the operating system level. You can do HTML on the desktop, and it's usually rendered in Internet Explorer, so or with the Internet Explorer render engine. I haven't really experimented with that, but I plan on doing that in the next few months. And this is what it looks like. It's XML based, just like most markup languages, or many markup languages that we use for UIs today. It was originally released in June 2008 as part of Project Avalon, which ended up being Windows Presentation Foundation code name. And the markup files actually have a C# backend, so if you want to do any animations that the markup itself can, or any data manipulation or conversion that the markup itself can't perform, do it in the C# backend that's linked directly to the XML file. The models are usually written in C#.NET. It's basically C, C++ without pointers. Microsoft's version of Java, since it runs in the .NET virtual machine or virtual environment. And it shares a lot of functionality and syntax of both Java and C, C++. Runs slowly, some processing overhead. And it allows, you can do partial classes with it, so it allows developers to write both functional and object-oriented applications. Visual Basic.NET, it's usable in this context, but it's not preferred because it has different purposes. It's based on, it's basically an evolution of VB6, which was Microsoft's version of BASIC. It was their big, hey, we're doing object-oriented programming, it's easy for people. And it's most commonly, people to be programmers, and it's commonly used for forms interfaces. And marrying the two together is a mechanism called data binding, where in WIN forms and XAML, you have the back end binding to the front end through at compiler time by matching. It basically maps all of the view model properties and indexers to the markup on the front end. And this allows you to, when you process the data on the back end, you focus on that, just like the Django.js. And it gives a property change event or property change notifier that updates the data on the front end. And you can go back and forth, one-way, two-way, one-way source. The variations depending on which you go. This is what the front end markup. This is an example of an processing program that we're working. Recently, it's something that can make Slack view, because it's not complicated. It's just uses the W50 index. So this is what in the markup file, the bindings of the properties and the property change notifier, so that it updates as soon as the data changes on the back end. And this is all you have to put on a view model. And we process the properties within the view model to make it when you initialize a window, you have to establish a data context for that window, and this is basically how you connect the view model to the window object. And since the markup files are objects themselves, within that environment, you can instantiate them within the C# backend, so that you don't even have to worry about the markup files. You just map them to the backend directly. Resource dictionaries allow you to do this, so you can have different object types bound to the front end, and then the resource dictionary. In .NET will go through the code, look up the resource, the markup resource that you want to map to that object, and then you can basically put screens within screens or interfaces within interfaces. I'm pretty sure I'm over, so there's no time to go that.
Got time?
All right, then I'll show a couple of examples.
It's up. So, on your watch.
All right, so here, this is one of my newer stuff. I kind of mixed. This is something that I wrote with one of my friends, or two of my friends, about 6 or 8 months ago. And this purpose of this is for analyzing real estate investment metrics. In this case, you have, I don't have all these separated, but you have, it opens up a login window, you log in, it's the main window. In the main window, separate the object into various workspaces, and then you can map those with the resource dictionaries to, like this, you bind that broker workspace object to the main window just in a content control, and it will map the markup directly to the object. And in this case, you define information. It does the same. I'll run it really quick. And so all of this is a bunch of layered markup files. The backend is linked to content controls, so each of these that were separated, the search bars, the investor preferences, it's a bunch of layered components. And I haven't seen that. I know there are other implementations and probably other languages and other frameworks, but it seemed very easy to use, and that's why I wanted to present it today, because I thought maybe you guys can find some uses for it, start doing stuff like this. And do you guys have any questions or comments?
How would you compare this architecture versus AngularJS?
This architecture seems more structured. AngularJS, because in this case you define all of the components that bind to the markup in the front end explicitly, and you can't bind methods like you can in AngularJS. AngularJS is much more fluid, so you can have, not everything has to have the same format to it.
David out there. You want to take another
Yeah.
question while we're
Can I
switching the
send Cindy
laptops?
notes?
Yes.
That's fine.
Do you guys have any other questions or comments or suggestions? No? Thanks.